Welcome back, Midnight Viewers, to Yautja Fest. Oh my God, we're nearing the end of the road, aren't we, HP?
The finish line is in sight, Father Malone. I'm so excited.
This is the end of one era of the Predator, and now we've got a whole new sort of, not reboot necessarily, but a whole new creative direction going. Anyway, what are we talking about today? We are talking about the Predator.
Do you know what my job description is? I'm in acquisitions. I look up and I catch what falls out of the sky.
What's on the ship?
Tell me about the mission. Did you see anything unusual?
It's above our pay grade. I get a cookie now?
Look, I get it. Something went down in Mexico. Nobody wants any witnesses. We need to know if you and your men pose a threat.
We're Rangers.
Hey, Baxley, if your mom's vagina were a video game, it'd be rated E for everyone.
Isn't posing a threat kind of the fucking point?
Predators just don't sit around making hats out of rib cages. They conquered space. But that's not what's on the horizon.
Should I be worried?
Riley. I think you know what is on the ship. The ultimate predators.
Light him up!
We may die.
We're still here. So come and get us, motherfucker.
That modifier counts. This is the actual Predator. This was released on September 6th, 2018. Actually, this was released on September the 14th, 2018. Written by Fred Dekker and Shane Black. Black and Dekker, their second collaboration together, third technically, although they're most famously known for writing the Monster Squad together. It was also directed by Shane Black. Shane Black, if you don't know, if you haven't been listening to this show forever, is a fucking hero of mine, one of the greatest screenwriters of all time. Not that that's necessarily on display here. Based on characters by Jim Thomas and John Thomas, starring Boyd Holbrook, Olivia Munn, Keegan-Michael Key, Trevante Rhodes, Sterling K. Brown, Jacob Tremblay, Alfie Allen, Thomas Jane, and Yvonne Strahovski. Cinematographer Larry Fong, shout out to him. He's always doing good work. HP, this was your first time with The Predator, wasn't it?
This is officially, you were talking about we're graduating to this next era of the Predator franchise. I'm graduating because this is my last Predator movie that I had not yet seen. So that was pretty exciting for me. So yes, it was my first time seeing it.
What'd you think?
A lot of mixed feelings on this one, Father Malone. There's quite a bit that's problematic. And ultimately, not to bury the lead, but I'm not sure this thing hangs together fully as a cinematic experience. There are moments that I really enjoyed. There's moments that I didn't. There's moments that I wondered what Shane Black was thinking. But I will say this. I was pretty much always entertained. This movie moves.
It's my second favorite Predator movie. That's what I discovered this time. This is probably my third time watching it. Saw it in the theater when it came out after long delays, everyone. This movie was delayed an entire year. I wonder what could have been happening during that entire year. Was it just sitting on a shelf, or maybe did they reshoot the entire last third of the movie? I think it was the last part. HP, what was the story that we received for The Predator?
The story of the movie? The plot
man.
In a nutshell.
Give us some plot.
Okay, so we have yet another...
Is there a plot?
There is a plot.
Is there? Are there several?
There's a lot going on, and frankly, there are times where it felt less like a Predator movie and more like a kind of misfit army vehicle where they have to band together, and that has its own charms. But anyway, the story of this movie, we have yet another Predator that's being chased to Earth by a larger Predator ship for reasons that will become clear later on. It crashes on Earth, and a sniper, an army sniper who's in the middle of a hostage recovery, witnesses this, engages the Predator. We have yet another agency that's been studying the Predator for presumably years and years and years. They take ownership of this Predator that has survived the crash, all of his equipment. They send the sniper off. Basically, they put him on ice. They send him to the loony bin, for lack of a better term, with a bunch of other misfit soldiers that have various forms of PTSD and other mental health issues. While this is all happening, the sniper has sent the Predator's helmet and wrist gauntlet to his son so he can have evidence that he did indeed encounter an alien. So we have this government agency that is now trying to find these artifacts. They have their own Predator. They bring in Olivia Munn's scientist, biologist, to come and help them study the Predator. Things go awry. The Predator escapes.
This is so exciting. What happens next?
It's hijinks happen next. There's the father, the sniper, is trying to get back to his son because he knows the Predator is tracking these artifacts and trying to get to his house to get his helmet back, because apparently their own equipment is very, very important to the Predators.
Predators love their shit, man. Do not touch a Predator's fucking armor, man.
Don't do it. Don't ever borrow it, because they won't, it's bad news. So they're
you
trying to get back there.
You don't tug on Superman's cape.
Don't spit into the wind.
You don't spit into the wind. You don't step on.
Don't pull the mask off that old Lone Ranger.
But
most of all,
don't touch a Predator's. Yeah, don't touch a Predator's fucking dreadlocks.
And don't mess around with Jim, but that's a story for another day.
Jim Thomas.
Jim Varney, I think.
Jim Caviezel.
Hey, Vern.
Bless you.
So these misfit lunatic soldiers are trying to help the guy save his son. The government agency is tracking them, trying to get this Predator tech back. There's a lot of pursuit, a lot of gunplay, not as much Predator as I would like, but again, at times it's not such a bad thing, because Shane Black is, as you said, he's a great screenwriter. He knows how to write an entertaining screenplay. So I didn't necessarily mind it, but at times I was left wondering, could this have been just an action movie without the Predator kind of overlaid onto it? Did you have any of those same thoughts, Father Malone?
I had all of those thoughts. Yeah, this feels like several action movies playing at once. It can't really settle on which story is the most important, so it just tries to tell us all of them equally, thus satisfying none of our needs overall. I like the story of the soldier trying to get home to his kid and estranged wife, because there's something he's done is going to be visited, an evil response to that. Like the Predator's going to come hunt them down. So now he has to go save them. I like that story a lot. I like the interaction with his son and the wife, that whole plot. I love the misfit dirty dozen loonies fighting Predators inexplicably. That's a really good plot. I like the government agency trying to figure out what the fuck is going on while all these other groups are going on. Any one of these stories could have just been its own movie.
Right. I think part of it for me, that the secret weapon of this movie is, for the most part, and I stress that, for the most part, this movie is cast really well. I love Sterling K. Brown as Traeger. He's the leader of this team that's been studying the Predator, and he's so no bullshit and charming at times and scary at times, ruthless. He's so effortlessly good. And the team of the lunatic misfit soldiers is also really, really good. I didn't realize that Thomas Jane was in this, and I was pleasantly surprised to see him pop up.
Can't always count on the Punisher, but when he shows up, you can definitely count on him, even if he has Tourette's syndrome. Sterling K. Brown should be Blade.
I haven't I've never thought of him in that role. I mean I kind of made my peace with Mahershala Ali. I think he still would have been very good.
Do you know why
We all
you know why everyone's settled on Mahershala Ali as Blade? Because he's
yeah.
stoic, and we now think of Blade as a stoic character. Is Blade a stoic character? I mean, he was in that comic book adaptation in the 90s, certainly, but not the comic book character I read. He's pretty gregarious at times. He's very Sterling K. Brown. Also, he's English. Everyone should know. Does anyone know that Blade is an English character? He's from England.
I didn't know that. I never read Blade.
I have Tomb of Dracula #1 hanging on my wall right here with the first appearance of Blade.
Out of sight.
So yeah, I think Sterling K. Brown would be a fantastic thing. But let's talk about some of the other lunatics here. Alfie Allen, inexplicably Irish part of the American army.
That was a little odd, and to be perfectly honest, he's the one that featured the least because I think he didn't get saddled with a very distinct marker. Like you said, Thomas Jane has Tourette's. Keegan-Michael Key's is always making jokes. He's funny and a little crazy. There's Nebraska, who is a chain smoker and very laconic and cool. The Irish guy, the Irish member of this team, as you said, inexplicable. I wish they gave him more to do, but he's just kind of there.
What's funny to me is I remember thinking that as part of the too many plots that we didn't really get to know anybody. And I was disabused of that rewatching it this time. This is the first time in any of the Predator movies where we've stopped to get to know the characters, and it's been interesting, and I wanted to know more. Probably the most well-defined of any of the teams. Like, I know things about these characters at the end of the movie, whereas at the end of the first Predator movie, I knew nothing going in, I knew nothing about them going out.
But that works for the very first one, though, because
that's all we needed then. I'm just saying,
that's all
like,
we needed. Yeah.
The same amount of time,
right.
The same amount of storytelling, and yet, like, this is actually like a step above as far as the writing goes. As far as what every Predator movie has been attempting to do since then, which is that we have to get used to a whole new human team and follow them as in their travails against the Predator or Predator and Alien combo. And this is the first time that I've thought, like, I like everyone here. I'm comfortable with these characters.
Well, this is definitely the first Predator that had so much humor in it. There might have been funny moments in the first one, and certainly the last one, Predators, there's a few funny moments. It's mostly played pretty stoically. But this one, I'm almost venture to say that the humor kind of outweighs the grimness. I mean, there's a lot of death and maiming and destruction in this. That is what it is. But sometimes to the film's detriment, I think it's played a little bit too much for laughs.
Totally agree with that. It is definitely the funniest of any of the Predator movies, but that's a guarantee when Shane Black is writing the script. You might come up with plot inconsistencies. You might have problems overall with structure or something, but you are never going to find a more quotable, funnier film than his. Like Lethal Weapon, Long Kiss Goodnight, Last Boy Scout, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. They're all fucking bangers, man.
Agreed.
But to your point, yes, there are some scenes where there should be some tension, but there is zero tension because everyone is making jokes. And there are plenty of times where the joking around is more than necessary as an escape valve and then as just a getting to know these folks kind of thing, but maybe not when they're being attacked by predator dogs.
Yeah, and kudos also for making the team of lunatics. They're all pretty good guys. I was prepared for it to be more like, some of these guys maybe are a little dark around the edges because at a certain point in the movie, they essentially rescue Olivia Munn's biologist character. We'll talk about her and their character in a minute. And I was very prepared for it to be a little bit iffy because these are red-blooded soldiers who have a screw loose. I was a little worried for her character, to be honest. But it turns out they're all just really sweet guys who have nothing but the best of intentions. I really appreciated that about this.
I will say this. I think Shane Black fell in love with these characters because, spoilers, everybody, you know that. Do I need to say that with this fucking show? By the end, we lose them, but he's very precious about it. he doesn't. He waits until he absolutely has to start kicking them loose before he starts doing that. He keeps these guys alive way too long. I mean, I'm not complaining. I think we needed more of them. I think they should have been front loaded in. They should have been introduced earlier in the film, honestly. But it's funny to me that if you compare it to the first Predator movie, how quickly everyone starts dying and how effortless the Predator starts picking them off one by one. And here he holds on to them for dear life.
He does, and he's also he's not unwilling to. I mean, a lot of them die very heroically, and I think it's to your point. I think it's because he loves these characters so much. He wants to give them that heroic ending. But at the same time, Shane Black is also not afraid to just have a guy die for no good reason. Just, there's, to skip ahead a little bit, one of the characters, I don't recall the character's name, but he's a long-haired misfit who's got a thing for Olivia Munn's character a little bit. At the end, they're trying to break. He's the pilot. Okay. He really dies for no good reason. He's on top of an alien ship. The shields power up and his legs are effectively cut off by the shields forming around his legs. And he just falls off the ship and he dies. I don't know why, but I kind of dug the fact that he didn't feel the need to give this particular character a grace note. He just died for no good reason and he falls off the ship and that's it. He doesn't do anything heroic. I don't know why, but because I think we've grown to expect these guys to get a nice tag, and a lot of them certainly do.
But as useless as that death is, and I agree with you, like he is not afraid to have someone die in a glorified manner. But when's the last time you saw a force field turn on and cut a guy's legs off?
It was pretty amazing. I actually was, my jaw was kind of left slack. I'm like, that is a really inventive way to kill somebody off in a movie. And another character has kind of, flattened himself on the ship. So the force field is effectively above him. And he's kind of trapped in this, 2-foot gap between the ship and some of the stuff is very creative. CG might be a little dodgy at times, as you would expect from a movie that's effectively almost 10 years old now, but pretty inventive and pretty creative at times.
The CG in that scene in particular is dodgy because that is that part of the movie that had to be rejiggered there at the end.
Yes.
That's part of the movie that had to be recombined there at the end. I do not like the word rejiggered.
Yeah. Recombined. It sounds problematic, even though I know it's not. The other thing that I did a little research, and apparently Shane Black is very cognizant of maybe because this is an R-rated movie, I believe, but he wanted to have the option. It is, but he wanted to have the option of a PG-13 version of it. So I think a lot of the CG blood, I think, was practically done so that it would be easy to wipe in, for another edit, right? Because you could just basically delete that layer of blood.
That's exactly what happened. There were markets with this movie where it was essentially without being a PG-13 was a PG-13 movie.
Makes sense.
But this is when we watched Alien versus Predator Requiem, we noted how mean-spirited the deaths seemed. These deaths are way meaner and way more violent, and yet did not somehow seem exploitative. How is that possible?
Because I think for the most part, you're right. There's an awful lot of maiming and destruction in very creative and violent ways. I don't know. I didn't really get the sense because a lot of the deaths in Requiem, I think they read as harsh because these are flat out innocents in a lot of cases. Case in point, at the very beginning, the hunter and his son get face hugged and a chest, that's pretty awful to have a child watch his own father die from a chest burster. To me, that's cruel. In this, there are, I guess you can't, it's not especially cruel, but I don't know. It felt like most everybody who had it coming got it particularly bad here. And that's maybe why I didn't have as much of a problem with it, because it mostly seemed, and I'm doing air quotes, justified in this universe.
So do you think one of the three guards that is guarding, but one of the three guards that's looking after Ivan Strahovski, when the super predator arrives,
yeah,
you think that guy deserved being basically slit in half with the predator's knife, and then there was basically a fountain of blood that poured down into the basement through which he had just broken through the floor or the ceiling?
Well, I mean, not to get all clerks on you, but I don't think he deserves it any less than a stormtrooper on the Death Star when it was destroyed. I mean, he's part of the enemy. He's holding this woman against her will for nefarious purposes. And we've seen Sterling Brown's character is not afraid to just say, take them out. So you know that these soldiers are prepared to go that extra distance. So I wasn't, yes, in the moment, maybe he is more innocent, but he had the potential to be more problematic.
Excellent point. These guys would kill anyone on command,
Yeah.
so they deserve what they get. Plus, look, man, I'm being devil's advocate. I loved all the violence in this movie.
It was gratuitous in Requiem. That's my problem with it. Because we talked about the scene in the hospital where there's a pregnant woman who gets impregnated multiple times by the Pred alien hybrid. That to me is gratuitous because she's a complete innocent in all of this. Whereas a soldier who has the potential to wipe out a family at a moment's order, I don't feel as bad. One of the only deaths that I maybe thought was maybe a little over the top was at one point Boyd Holbrook, the guy who plays what's his name, McKenna. His character's McKenna. His son, who we got to get into this. He's autistic and he's bullied at school. He was sent the helmet and the wrist gauntlet because in the movie's world he's autistic. He's able to figure out the technology and actually hack into the operating system. He goes out on Halloween. He's got the Predator's mask taped to his face. It's cartoonishly big on him. And he's got the wrist gauntlet.
Scene. I know where you're going.
It's a really good scene. And the bullies are just about ready to pounce on him and they're making fun of him. This little boy, Jacob Tremblay's character, goes to a house to trick or treat. They never answer. And this jerk up in the balcony,
the punk kid, like in his early 20s, like you can tell he's a scumbag, like a Hesher, kind of goes, I'll give you a trick or treat or something, and he throws like a can or something at the kid and it doinks off of the helmet, and the tech is set to like automatically send a shot back when it gets hit. So this cannon pops out of it, shoots the guy, like this Hesher who has no idea what's happening, kills him, blows up the whole house, and the bullies are just like, what is going on? So it's kind of a nice, this kid gave it to the bullies, but at the same time, he killed at least one innocent, maybe a full house full of innocents. Not his fault, but it happened. The Predator is effectively at fault there because his tech is a little too good defensively.
It is. And they have little touches. They're always, the one thing you can say about all these movies is they're kind of expanding the lore of the Predator, and that includes all the weapons and tech. And this movie, there's a lot of cool tech in this movie, including this auto cannon that pops out of the helmet and shoots whatever has been attacking it.
There are gauntlets in this movie where those are new. The Predator, what he's after is his helmet or his faceplate, really, and one of his two gauntlets. He has the right one, but Boyd Holbrook puts the other one on at the beginning and then is attacked by a Predator, and then the gauntlet defends him by shooting out a little disc that actually wounds the Predator.
Yeah, and that's the Predator that is taken away by this strike team and is being studied.
Let's talk Predators for a second, because I know you've been super critical of every Predator performance since Kevin Williamson. What'd you think of this fella?
The one with, there's two Predators, I guess, a whole.
No. There is an actor, and then there's a fucking cartoon. I'm talking about the actor.
Okay. He was fine. He read a little bit more TV wrestler to me. He didn't. I'm going to be a little more critical. You are a tough
crowd, man.
I am, but I really think Kevin Peter Hall was...
Kevin Williamson is what I said?
You said Kevin Williamson. I was wondering about that. I was like, did the guy who wrote Scream, did he do
Oh my God, you
movie?
remember him in the second Predator movie?
That's right.
He's only in the ship at the end, though.
Look, there's 3 rules to a Predator movie. Anyway, he was good. I think he was a little more pro wrestler than lithe killing machine. And they do some weird things with the Predator. This isn't necessarily related to his performance, so maybe I'll leave it there and we can move on in a minute. But he was fine. I didn't think that he was the best performance of a Predator that I've seen. That honor still goes to Kevin Peter Hall, R.I.P. What did you think of his performance? You're looking at me like, are you crazy?
No, I'm not. I don't think you're crazy, because obviously Kevin Peter Hall's performance is just fucking fantastic. He is the Predator. I mean, that's what we think of when we think of a Predator. But, I mean, can I just say that I think this Predator's better? I like
You
this
think
Predator.
Yeah. No, he's fine.
I
don't
think
he was,
I think he's moving in a much more lithe way, in a much more professional way than before. There are some shots here. I know that, look, there's a ton of fucking CGI in this movie, but there's a lot of practical stuff, just down to little things. Like there's a rooftop chase where Olivia Munn is chasing the Predator. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But there's a moment in it where the Predator leaps from one level to another, and you can tell that they probably got the actor on like one of these trampolines that launches him up. But my God, seeing the Predator move as quickly and as gracefully as he was during that whole scene, I don't know. I was just knocked out by it. I will understand you not agreeing that he's not as good as Kevin Peter Hall, but I think he's the best we've seen since Kevin Peter Hall.
Best we've seen since. I will grant you that 100%. With the proviso that there's still more Predator to come in the franchise, which we'll get to when we get to it. But yes, I will agree to that he's the best since Predator 2, effectively.
Yay, win for me. I won. I hunted that one down. I like the fact that at one point or another, several times in the movie, they point out the fact that Predator is actually the wrong name for what he's doing. They should be calling him a hunter. A predator is just hunting for food.
Yeah, that was kind of funny, actually. And I guess that grew out of a real discussion that they had on set about the Predator. But that's something that not many actors can sell. But Sterling K. Brown, who, I mean, they bring up this argument several times, but when they're in the lab and that the biologist, Olivia Munn, says, yeah, that sounds more like a hunter, like a game hunter, not like a predator. Predator only hunts to survive. And Sterling Brown is the one who basically says, no, we had to vote on it and we agreed Predator's cool. Right, guys? Right, guys? Cool. He has, I used the word before, he has an effortless smoothness
That's
about
a great
him.
line, man. This is a very funny movie.
It is. But he really is kind of, for me, he's one of the aces in the whole of this movie because he's so charismatic and you buy him being somebody who could lead this team and because there's scenes where he has to be super charming because he's trying to cajole this boy into helping him unlock the alien tech. You've got to buy that part of him that he can get down to a boy's level and relate and convince him to do something. But at the same time, he's got to be this scary psycho motherfucker who is, at one point, one of the mercenaries has Olivia Munn at gunpoint, and he says, "What do I do?" And Sterling K. Brown Traeger just says, "Eliminate her." That's it. I buy him in both senses, and he's just so good, and he's so funny too.
Talk about ruthless. At the end of the movie, Boyd Holbrook has a gun on him, and he has Jake and Tremblay at his side. And Sterling K. Brown, instead of telling his men to put his guns down, tells his men, I'm going to count back from 10, at which point, shoot out the child's kneecap.
It's really good because we've been trained in every one of these movies where somebody's being held at gunpoint. Like, tell them to put their guns down. They're like, against their will. They're like, all right, lower your guns. But that's not what he does at all. He threatens the guy's son right in front of him.
Love Shane Black so much, man.
It's so good. That part of it's like really good. Which makes it all the more upsetting, Father Malone, the way they took out Traeger. Obviously, this is a spoiler zone here. Now, to be honest, I practically blinked and missed the moment that Traeger got killed. I had to go back and rewatch the scene. What happened to him?
It is certainly a chaotic scene, isn't it?
It is. So can we go into that a little bit just to give people context?
Let's.
So they effectively, after this standoff between Traeger and McKenna, they effectively joined forces for the moment to try and take the Predator out. They realize that they're better off together than individually. So they've made a truce and they're walking through these woods. And as one does, the Predator attacks them. It's a chaotic scene. There's guns going off. Alien tech. Traeger has one of the shoulder-mounted plasma cannons that we've seen in all the Predator movies. And he's using that to effectively fight the Predator. And at one point...
Which he's been warned about. They warned him earlier. He picks that cannon up and his subordinate says, you ought to be careful with that, sir.
Oh, I saw that, but it didn't read as the shoulder cannon because it's effectively a tube at that point. It's not mounted, so I didn't make that connection. That's just me being slow. But regardless, he's got this shoulder cannon on. Olivia Munn says, Traeger, and he turns his head, and the gun is pointed right at his head and blows his head off. That's it. Ignominious death.
Well, you said you like that about Shane Black. You like a good ignominious death, don't you?
I'm fine if it's not as chaotic and I can understand what just happened.
Well, do you want to talk about the chaos at the end?
I'd love to. I'd love to talk about a lot of stuff.
Let's talk about the specific plot of the movie right now. What is happening here
at this moment in the movie?
Overall, the plot of the movie. Predator 1 is on the run from Predator 2 because he's stolen a bunch of tech. Why?
Well, do you want to reveal? We don't find that out until the very end of the movie.
Spoiler,
okay.
Sir.
So what's happened is, and Traeger is very good at keeping one step ahead. He understands the predators, and he's the one who kind of expositories this whole thing. The global warming is happening. The temperature's rising. The biologist figures out that there's human DNA in the predator that they're studying. So what Traeger has basically figured out is that they are using the trophies that they get of all of the humans and other aliens. They use the DNA from those trophies
that they find in the spine.
Better.
Hey, that's why they rip out their spine, everybody.
Yeah, it's a very interesting twist because up to that point, you just think these are trophies. But no, they're harvesting DNA to make themselves better hunters. So the fact that the Earth's temperature is rising, humanity is effectively an endangered species. The predator's visits are becoming more frequent. So anyway, that's the predator that's being chased by the larger uber predator is effectively bringing a gift to humanity to try and protect it from the onslaught of predators that he knows is coming. And that onslaught is represented by this giant uber predator that is basically kills the first predator with very little difficulty. He's big, he's strong. He rips his head off like we've seen him do with so many humans. And I don't know how
you notice that when he did that, he didn't use it like a trophy at all. He just went, and flicked it away like so much rubbish.
Yeah, he just dropped it. He said, I don't need this. But somehow the biologist recognizes that this giant predator has an exoskeleton on the inside. I don't know how she figured that out because he just looks like a giant predator to me. But this predator we're led to believe, has been crossbred with all this predator DNA, and that's what makes him bigger, faster, and tougher. But he's after this thing that the other predator was bringing to humanity to try and give us a fighting chance. And we don't find out until the very end that it's a predator killer armor. It's actually pretty cool. I'm kind of a little sad that we never saw this thing really in action, but it's this armor that kind of bonds to you. It kind of, it's like Iron Man armor, basically. It kind of flies into you. It armors you. You become a robot predator that has all these guns and rockets and things. And that we're led to believe that McKenna is going to be the predator killer in the sequel that we never got of this movie. Sorry,
okay. One of three endings. Ending number 1, preferred by Shane Black. They were really pushing for it the whole time. They reveal the tech from the alien ship, and it's a cryo chamber, and in it is Dutch Schaefer. He was bringing Dutch Schaefer back to help us fight the other predators. Ending number 2. Ending number 2. Are you ready for ending number 2? Same setup, cryo chamber. Open up the cryo chamber. Who's in it?
Don't tell me Danny Glover's in it.
No.
Adrian Brody?
No.
Martin Riggs? I don't know. Who's in the other cryo chamber?
Close. Ellen Ripley.
Oh, I think I did read that somewhere, but it didn't make much of an impact.
How would she travel back in time? I don't know. They filmed that.
You're shitting me. They filmed Sigourney Weaver coming out of the cryo chamber?
No, they filmed a double with a breathing mask over her face and a patch that read Ellen Ripley.
Oh, wow. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it, but I did read the original screenplay.
And?
Oh boy, let's talk about the original screenplay. What did you think of? Oh, we'll get there, but here's a question. When this is part of the movie, we should talk about. What did you think of the Predator dogs in this movie? They're not the same. They're not the same as the last Predator dogs we saw, right?
They're not. But to be honest, I mean, the scene is cool. We won't go into the scene, but basically, there's a scene much like Predators, the last movie, where they're in a baseball field and the Predator dogs come out. They didn't make a lot of impact to me. They're faceless and they don't really have a lot of panache to them that I found interesting. The interesting part there was one of the mercenaries shoots the dog in the head, shoots one of them in the head, and renders him docile. Like he effectively lobotomizes the dog, so it becomes more like a real dog that's kind of like
It's a sweet puppy
loyal.
at that point.
Yeah. Becomes a loyal pup.
Ripley
at that point.
Jean was riveted once that dog became nice.
It's a little dark that it took a bullet to the head to make the thing docile, but it was it's the source of some fun comedy in the movie. But to be honest, I didn't really, the Predator.
Do you notice
dogs have
anything
taken a
interesting?
lesson.
Do you notice anything interesting about their design?
They had the dreadlocks.
They did have dreadlocks, almost as if they had been genetically
Crossbred.
engineered.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
Well, guess what? Originally, the gigantic predator was a gene splicing predator. Those are his dogs, after all. And he had an entire menagerie of predator spliced aliens. Predator crocodiles, predator giant spiders, predator this and that, and the other thing, an entire horror show. Our hero predator, the fugitive predator, stole the menagerie. That's what the ship was, and was transporting it so he couldn't have it, so he wouldn't be able to use it on Earth, and brought it to Earth instead. At which point, at the end, they open up the ship and all of these predator monsters come out, and it's a fucking monster battle
Sounds expensive.
in broad daylight.
Sounds even more expensive.
They filmed it, Harris. They filmed it, HP.
Nice.
I've never seen it.
There's a lot that they filmed. I know that the ending of Keegan-Michael Key and Thomas Jane's characters were also like refilmed. Like originally, they didn't die the way they did in the released version. There's an awful lot of this going on with this movie. It makes me wonder if there's a whole nother cut, like release
The black cut.
the black cut, exactly. Release the Shane cut.
Shane, come back, Shane. The thing is, Shane Black is intimately involved in the movie, so I don't think he's spoiling to get another cut out there. And, he's taken his lumps. He's spoken about the movie that he fucked it up and, didn't deliver the movie that people wanted. But yeah, that was the original ending. I'd love to see that ending.
I would too.
I've read comments bagging on the ending, and they're fucking nuts. Like, the ending that we got was okay, but it was just kind of the end of that A-Team episode that was running through the movie. You know what I mean? I didn't want the A-Team ending at the end. I wanted a fucking Predator ending.
And you really just encapsulated it beautifully. It really is like an A-Team of misfit soldiers that band together. And it just so happens in this case that their foe is a predator from outer space. But it could have been a drug lord. It could have been any number of things, and it would have been an equally interesting movie, perhaps.
A-Team meets the Predator.
Yeah.
Do you know there was an Archie meets Predator 2 after this came out?
I think I read the first Archie versus Predator, and it was interesting. I can't say that I liked it. I appreciated their willingness to kind of blend these two disparate genres.
You should check out the sequel.
Yeah. I will. I'm sure they have a new line that's the Marvel Universe versus Predators. Did you know that? Brand new.
I did know that, and I don't want to dive in. I kind of just don't want to. I mean, maybe I will eventually, but we're experiencing Predator so purely right now. Although, if you wanted to, you could read the prequel novel for this film.
Just for the Predator, there's a prequel.
Yeah.
Did Alan Dean Foster write it?
No, I don't know the author off the top of my head. I did listen to it. I didn't read it, but I listened to it. It's about Sterling K. Brown's character and his squad, the Reapers. That's his team's name, the Reapers.
I would check that out. Actually, speaking of the Reapers, one thing that we haven't mentioned, which I thought was a neat little, I don't call it an Easter egg, is one of the scientists that's there when Olivia Munn shows up to study the Predator, is played by Jake Busey, who, number one, I love the fact that he's so restrained and kind of nerdy in this. I'm used to him being like his dad, a little more boisterous and kind of, hey, hey. Here, he's just like a nerdy scientist. He starts off that way. The Predator attacks and he dies as a nerdy scientist. I thought that was pretty cool, but he's meant to be the son of Gary Busey's character from Predator 2.
Yeah, it's an Easter egg that's right there, but they don't like at no point do they go like my dad was blah blah blah, which is nice. Like it's there if you want to.
They don't call attention to it. Yeah.
There are tons of little Easter eggs like that throughout the entire film. In fact, Shane Black is not shy for acknowledging the other films, right down to the Alien versus Predator. One of their artifacts, I don't know if you noticed, is Sanaa Lathan's spear, the xenomorph tail spear.
Really? I didn't notice. I did notice that when he finally escapes and kills everybody in the lab, there's a glass case with, I think that's where you're talking about, where the artifacts are. And he doesn't have his mask. The kid has his mask. So it's effectively the original Predator's mask from Predator 1. And I think it's great that we've had so much lore that we can recognize like one mask from the other. That was really clever. We haven't really gotten back to this and I don't want to lose sight of it. There's really two negatives. We talked a lot about how much we loved about the movie, but can we talk about two negatives in my opinion?
Can we talk about a biologist who turns into a fucking action star within moments? Sure.
That's number one. Well, let me ask you first, as an actress, how did you feel when you saw that Olivia Munn had a starring role in this picture?
My heart fell through the floor when I saw that she was in the cast. This is before I saw the movie, mind you. My experience with Olivia Munn had been as a Maxim cover model and as a Psylocke. I think that's pretty much the sum total of my experience of her. And I don't know. She's a pretty girl, you know what I mean? But I didn't think too much of her acting chops. I liked her a lot in this movie. I think she was really good in the movie.
She's better than I expected. I, like you, had low expectations. I knew her.
Shame on me, I guess, is what I'm fucking saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying don't judge a book by its cover, like, because I thought she was really good. Like, given the fucking bizarre logic of her role in this film, the fact that she manages to come off normal and not betray how stupid everything they're making her do is.
Sure. My intro to her, my previous experience was a little more extensive in that I used to watch, there was a network called G4, which was a network for video games and things like that. And they had a show, their flagship
Because of all our
show.
sorrow. This was the rise of nerd kingdom, nerd fucking.
This was like Spike TV. This was back in those days. And their flagship show, their news variety show was called Attack of the Show. And she was one of the co-hosts. It was her and some other nerdy guy. And she proved in that, I mean, she's very pretty and that's a big part of her appeal, but she did prove in that show that she could twist that on its head a little bit and she could be funny and she could act a little bit. And, you know, she wasn't just a pretty face. But she wasn't also going out of her way to do a Jenny McCarthy thing, which is, I know I'm pretty, but I'm going to do my best to make myself repulsive. I'm going to belch, I'm going to fart, I'm going to do all this stuff. And hey, isn't that funny when a pretty girl does these things? She never stooped to that level, and I appreciated that about her. She was better than I expected her. And I guess, to your point, shame on me too, because as people coming into a movie, especially totally fresh like I did, you should never go in with preconceived notions, and I fear that's what I did. Having said that, it is a little tiresome, and they don't really play with this trope, but haven't we kind of gotten past this idea of the beautiful, brilliant scientist? Like, who is that? Was it Denise Richards in that James Bond movie?
She was a nuclear scientist.
Yeah. That makes me bristle when I see somebody pretty in a role like this. Having said that, Olivia Munn comports herself much better than I gave her any credit for.
I believed her as a badass member of that squad, of that movie, because I don't know what her place is in this film, other than as the person who infiltrates the lab, grabs a thing, and then figures out what they're up to. That's the function of her character. But they introduce her as this like bookish professor who gets called on by this Stargazer organization, which is the Sterling K. Brown's organization, to come check out this alien to like double check their findings or something. So this is the furthest from an action star ever. And she behaves appropriately up until the moment where the Predator wreaks fucking havoc in that lab. Great scene, by the way. Love seeing a Predator bite somebody for the first time.
First time. Absolutely.
We've been looking at that scary fucking mouth this whole time. No, 5 movies. Nobody went, wouldn't it be good if he bit somebody? Anyway, during that scene, Predator kills everyone in the room. She tries to get out. The only way to get out is through the decontamination room. So she's effectively naked on the floor without a weapon when the Predator comes in. So she's not a threat. And he leaves. And she's so fucking shaken in that scene. This is when I was like, oh, wow, she's really, really good. I like her. That what follows makes zero sense at all. Her reaction to, oh my God, I faced this creature from another planet that killed everyone in that room and then spared me. Let me grab a tranq gun and chase it down. Let me jump onto a moving bus and then stand on said moving bus trying to get a shot. Like either she's a member of that team or she's a Sandra Bullock character.
If it were me, let's say I'm the scientist who goes in there and I face down a Predator in that fashion and he spares me, but he gives me a nice long glare before he does. No hyperbole. I would literally be shitting myself. And I think I would probably have PTSD for the rest of my life because number one, I have to come to terms with the fact that aliens do exist. And this thing that I just saw kill people in the most egregious way that you can imagine spared me. I think I would be on that bus with the lunatics. I would be done.
Is that Shane Black's fault? It's too real world a moment to follow it up with. And now it's action fun.
Well, they try to play it off like she's like, well, no, this is my alien. I'm not going to let him get away. I want to study him. So that becomes her obsession. She is driven by the idea that I came this close to studying an alien. I'm not going to let him get away.
It's all very happenstance. Oh, there's so much logical happenstance in this. Like the squad just happens to be there. Like when they're putting them on the bus with them, like Boyd Holbrook's character was not familiar with these characters before we meet them, which is like 30 minutes into the film.
Right. Right. But
should they not have been his team from the beginning? Shouldn't it have just been the A team framed for a crime they didn't commit, like they as a cover up, like, and then they're fighting amongst themselves in the loony bin, like there were aliens. No, there weren't. You're actually crazy. No, you are. Like something like he needed to pick a story because I want to either follow Boyd Holbrook saving his son and doing that whole thing, or I want to follow this fucking A team story.
There is something very endearing about that whole team of damaged soldiers because they each, as you said, they take time. Shane Black takes time to really let you get to know all of them. And they all have a very interesting backstory, like Nebraska, who's effectively the leader of the group when Holbrook meets them. He shot himself in the head. He tried to commit suicide effectively, and then he had to walk himself to the hospital when it didn't work. I don't know. Just the guy with Tourette's, you automatically feel, at least I do, somebody who has this involuntary condition, your heart goes out to them because, he's a misunderstood character on the face of it.
Fun fact, although that might not be a fun fact. Shane Black also has Tourette's.
I'm aware of that. And that made it a little complicated to think about this character because the Tourette's, let's be honest, is played for laughs in this. But the fact that Shane Black has Tourette's, I guess that's supposed to excuse it or make me feel better about it being used?
I don't know. Is it any better or worse than autism is a magical step in our evolution and it will allow you to understand alien technology?
That's the biggest, bar none, the biggest problem I had with this movie was the treatment of a boy with autism. He's effectively he's like Rain Man, basically, because he has this preternatural ability to understand the alien's tech and figure things. I mean, he's doing things like this alien, the Uber alien or Predator has been pursuing when the ship, and he cloaks to get into Earth's, to land on Earth. And the kid's playing with this thing, and the kid can effectively turn off and on the cloaking of the aliens or the Predator's ship at will. I mean, he's figured this out in less than a day. So I take umbrage with the fact that number one, really that autism is being treated like this, like a super intellect. This, as Olivia Munn says, the next step in evolution. And in fact, that figures into the story because at one point, and I thought this was kind of cool actually. For the first time, let me back up for a minute. We actually have translated Predator language in this, which I was very excited for, Father Malone. There's some subtitling that happens when the ship is on its way, and then when they're trying to break into the ship, Traeger has set up this translator and downloaded the Predator's language onto this device. The Predator, the Uber Predator, gets on the ship and he talks to the people and to the mercenaries and so forth. And he says, "Look, this is my ship. You're not going to get this ship. All I want is this item that the other Predator had, and I'm going to give you guys a head start. I'm going to give you like a 7-minute head start. By the way, one among you is called McKenna. He's your leader. He will be my trophy," which is kind of scary to think that, wow, this is actual alien, like an alien talking to us and we understand it. We're led to believe that he means McKenna, the sniper, but no, because this autism is being treated as, something glorious. He actually meant McKenna, the child, because of course he's autistic, so he must be an evolutionary step forward. The Predator thinks so. And in fact, the Predator eventually steals the boy and tries to leave Earth with him in an escape pod. For all of the good that happens in this movie and all the great stuff in the screenplay, it was just so hard for me to get past the treatment of autism in this movie. I thought it was really just unfortunate and a real bummer.
It's unfortunate.
But how did you feel? I mean, I talked a lot about this, but what were your feelings, Father Malone?
I didn't feel quite as harshly toward on this viewing as I did before. I don't think it's as muddle-headed as, is it as muddle-headed as Punching Down? I don't know, man. Like, it's not played for laughs, but I guess it's kind of like feeling like, you're Chinese and everyone thinks you're mystical and can do kung fu or something. It's just like, I can see the criticism of Big Trouble in Little China at a moment where Chinese people are trying to cement their national identity as, just hardworking American people. And like, would you stop treating us like, we can shoot fire and summon dragons?
That's a very fair point. That is a very fair point. And I guess I didn't think of it in those terms, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how you would, I guess, could it have worked as well had the boy just been a really smart, nerdy kid without this overlaid, issue of autism blanketing him?
Yeah. Yes, it definitely could have. The script is such a fucking kitchen sink of ideas that it doesn't necessarily need to be in there. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I want to just give everyone the benefit of the doubt because I know their intentions from previous works, It doesn't excuse it, I suppose. I don't have a child with autism, so I don't really have a dog in the fight necessarily, or a Predator dog in the fight. But gee, now you're making me not like the movie at all, HB.
Well, no, it doesn't kill my whole enjoyment of the movie. We just talked for the better part of an hour about what we loved about it, and that doesn't change that. I really wish he had. And if this movie had come out in 1997, let's say, doesn't excuse it, but it would have made it more understandable that maybe autism was understood very differently 2 decades ago or whatever. But this wasn't that long ago. I think we understand collectively a lot more about autism and how to treat folks on the spectrum and what that means to be autistic. I thought we left the whole Rain Man thing back in the 80s. So it was a little dismaying. No, it was a lot dismaying to see this in this movie. It didn't kill the movie for me. I just couldn't help wishing that it had been otherwise.
Do you think it was maybe a misguided attempt at hopefulness? Like, I know it seems bad, folks, but don't worry, you're just actually the next evolutionary step.
That's the most charitable explanation for it. Sure. Yeah, I guess I will go ahead and give Shane Black the benefit of the doubt on this. I don't think he was out to purposefully exoticize the notion of autism. Just like I don't think it was John Carpenter or W.D. Richter's notion to exoticize Asian American culture in Big Trouble in Little China. I just think it's a factor of the time it was made and the people that made it.
It's a topic that must be wrestled with if we're going to enjoy this movie. If we must sing its praises, we must let you know that there are problematic issues.
That's very well said.
Overall, where do you rank it?
Ooh, the thing of it is like, look, number one, it's better than Predator 2. It's better than Requiem. It's better than AVP, hands down. Where it's a little tough for me to judge is Predators, the previous movie, is so different tonally, structurally. Everything about it is so different. It's a bit of an apples and oranges argument, but if we're judging this primarily on entertainment value, how much entertainment did I get from this versus Predators? This was more entertaining. So I'm going to say I like this better than Predators. But that's not saying I enjoyed Predators. This was better.
Don't we rank them?
So far?
Yeah, because here's the thing. From here on out, I consider this the end of the first Predator era, let's say. Because from now on, Trachtenberg's in charge. And from now on, I think we're going to be thinking about the Predators a little more thoughtfully and a little less, you know what would be cool? Because that's what every filmmaker up until now has been doing every time they get their hands on this franchise.
Good point. So let's obviously, number one you want to go backwards, like in reverse?
No, number
order,
one is Predator. There's no surprise.
It set the tone. It's still the best movie overall. Nothing's going to top Predator. The second best, I would say, is The Predator.
Agreed.
Then Predators.
Agreed.
Then it's a very big drop off from there to.
But Alien versus Predator has more charms than its misbegotten sequel.
Sure. Look, Requiem is going to be bottom of the barrel regardless, because stacking it up against any other movie, it's going to be the worst.
Thank God it's there, right? Like every movie that comes out from now on, we can always just say, but was it as bad as Requiem? No.
It's true. It can only get better from there. That's for sure. But
Howard Jones, how I love you.
Oh, wait, you know what? I'm sorry. We didn't rank Predator 2. Where does that fall?
Because it's not on the list, because we're just tossing it off the list.
Predator 2?
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
Why is that get off the list?
We're just ignoring it.
And Requiem
I'm with you. Obviously, we got to put it on the list. How dare we even forget it?
I would say then I would offer that it should be just above AVP.
Agreed.
So it slots into that third spot effectively, or fourth spot.
I want to like it more than Predators, but it is not as good a movie.
It's not. And I think we talked about this when we discussed that movie. I liked it a lot when I first saw it in the theater, Predator 2. I did not like it nearly as much when we rewatched it for this series. In fact, I disliked it a lot.
Well, there it is. There's the list. Predator, The Predator, Predators.
So ridiculous.
And then Predator 2. And then Alien versus Predator, then Alien versus Predator Requiem. Okay.
That's it.
I don't know why that's so funny, but
that is.
I'm just you know what's funny? Here's what's funny, HP. Do you know the original title of Predator?
The first Predator?
Yes.
What? I have no idea. What was the original title?
Hunter. Until next time, we're going to be taking a look. Finally, motherfuckers, we're going to be taking a look at Prey. That'll be 2 weeks from today, ladies and gentlemen, unless you're listening on the Patreon channel. Hey, patrons, welcome to September. Everyone else, this will be sometime in November, October. I don't know. Anyway, HP, until then, where can people find you when they're looking for you? And they are, you know.
All right. I hope so. I welcome it. I co-host the Night Mr. Walters Taxi podcast alongside my best friend in the world, Father Malone here.
Hey.
I'm and also world's best Fonzie impressionist over here. I am an occasional guest on the Culture Cast with Chris Dashew. I also occasionally host the Noise Junkies music podcast. And
love that show.
And kind of when I feel like it. And I also, last but not least, I have a Bandcamp site, hpmusicplace.bandcamp.com.
As for me, you're listening to the show. You know it all. Patreon.com/Father Malone. Thank you to all the patrons, by the way. Really appreciate it. Got a lot of good stuff coming out for you soon, including a new HP Hates Me. In fact, if you're listening to this, it's probably already on the patron channel. We're going to be looking at fucking FM. That's right. The Father Malone movie. All right, we're gonna leave with, oh, you know what? There are so many fucking good lines. It's gonna be hard to choose one. So anyway, here's something fucking hilarious from The Predator.
Morning, sunshine.
I really wish people would stop calling me that.
Sure, hey! Oh, I told you she'd grab it. $10, pay up. Woo!
Plug it.
Where's my phone?
You're not gonna need that.
I told you she'd pull the trigger. I should have bet you that time.
I like her.
I should have bet you that time.
I like her.
I like her.
I like her a lot.
Come here, ding dong.